What's going on, everyone, and welcome into Expected Bets for your go-to podcast for all things hockey betting. I am Gator Betting, joined by my co-host today. We got Franco the Banker with us. Franco, we have started our last division in our season-long previews. Certainly been a better adventure than last year of our hour episodes per team. Thankfully, we don't have to do an hour on the Chicago Blackhawks tonight.
I mean, what a team to kick it off with, right? This is, if there was ever a team I wanted to talk about in this division, it's probably Chicago.
For an hour, too. I don't know how we did that last year.
We should just do an hour on this one. We'll make an exception here.
I think the drop off rate, if we were to look at like the analytics for the episode, would be like now. They're like Chicago Blackhawks. Like, no, we're good. Like,
never mind. I didn't mean to click this. Sorry.
Yeah, like YouTube, get this out of my suggestions right now, please. All right, starting off the Central Division, but before we do that, we have finished the Pacific, the Metro, the Atlantic. Please be sure to check out those episodes. They're posted on our YouTube right now, curating each individual division playlist. Great episodes. Tons of futures this season. We really focused on the betting aspect this year. Every single preview has one or two futures that we absolutely love, break down completely. So please go check that out if you haven't done so already. All right. The Chicago Blackhawks, 25, 46, 11 last year. 61 points. 8th in the Central. The team stats are bad. They're pretty bad. But the special teams, I will give them credit. 7th on the power play, 14th on the PK. Respectable numbers. But the goals for per game at 26th, goals against at 31st, shots for, shots against, 32nd, 30th. Not great. But they do bring in a new head coach, so let's start there. Jeff Blashill replaces the interim. I mean, in terms of like immediate head coaching impacts, I don't think this is necessarily going to be one, just given the roster that he's kind of has. Almost a similar situation to Marco Sturm in Boston, but Boston necessarily doesn't have that franchise piece up and coming that they want to build it around.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. This is very similar in the sense that you feel like it's kind of, is this coach going to be here in 2 years? I guess we'll see, right?
You're in a roster and you're like, what do I do with this? How much can I actually get out of this team?
Yeah, it's kind of brutal to kind of be thrown into a situation like this. I mean, you do have, at least what was formerly considered the top prospect in the league, right, in Bedard. So, I feel like in general, like, people have soured on him a little bit, and maybe it's not all his fault or however you want to say it, but I don't know. Just the pieces they put around him have not worked out. I mean, except for Donato, who was just fantastic last year. But they brought in Bertuzzi last year. They brought in Teravainen last year. Mikheyev as well. More veterans trying to kind of like make this team look better, but we kind of saw through it last offseason, saying we still thought this team wasn't going to take a step forward, and they really didn't. Now they add Burakovsky, another guy that really could never stay healthy in Seattle his whole time there. Lafferty, I guess they bring back. He was there at some point, I feel like a year or two ago. So overall, like, this team didn't change much. To me, it just feels like this is a team that said, you know what? Let's just enter the sweepstakes and
the McKinnon sweepstakes.
We'll suck one more year because what the hell. So yeah, I mean, it probably sucks to be a Chicago Blackhawks fan. You bring back Soderblom, who I know a lot of Hawks fans were not interested in seeing come back. So that's not exciting for them either. But I don't know. I think there's some pieces here, but overall, yeah, this is a team that does not look like they're going to do much again this year.
I mean, this is the first full season that Spencer Knight's going to be that 1A goalie too, right? That's another question mark that you kind of have to look at this team with. They lost Maroon, they lost Martinez, they lost Brody, Kurashev, Veleno, Gutman. and Safronov, not necessarily,
Not really losses.
not really losses exactly. I mean, to be fair, for a little upside for Chicago fans, right? When you're looking at this team, Bedard, Donato, Nazar, Mikheyev, maybe Dickinson as well. Those are going to be kind of your offensive pieces that you start to build around moving forward. Foligno's on the other side. Bertuzzi, I don't think necessarily fit in with his team perfectly in his first season with them. Burakovsky's going to be interesting on that top line. Teravainen, I think he's a fine second line winger, but they do have a direction with this team. It's just how long is it going to take before they see enough out of this core to start to fully invest and buy into this roster of it becoming a playoff contender and a Stanley Cup contender.
I will say, I think the blue line looks like it's further along than the forward group at this point. It's young.
I would agree.
It's young. It's very young. So there's
but it has a direction. It has a direction. Yeah.
Yep. There will be growing pains, but to me, if I'm a Blackhawks fan, I'm looking for something positive to look forward to this season or something to be excited about. Like the growth of these guys. They're all relatively young, except for Murphy, obviously. I want to see them. Forget bringing in like an older veteran guy on the blue line. Let all these guys run. Let them go through the ups and downs that are going to be inevitable with a team like this and see what you have. I think there can be, at least from a betting angle, this is what we're trying to get at and try to find something to do with this team, right? I bet Levshunov a few times last year. We cashed a Wyatt Kaiser prop last year.
Yeah.
Nice big hit for us. So, I think that would be Vlasic even had a little run where his point prop was hitting last year. So that would be kind of where my interest would be, because I don't think you're going to get value on Bedard because of the name. Maybe Donato again will be a little bit of value, but who knows if he sustains that.
Bedard was overvalued all year, and I don't think if you bet the NHL throughout the season, his point prop was overvalued every game, and Donato started to be overvalued towards the end of the season. Where you look at this, Bedard hadn't hit in, let's say, the last 8 or 10, he maybe hit 2 of 10, let's say, and his point prop's still minus 200. And you're just there's no value at that certain point. But credit to Chicago. They have a young roster, but they're not necessarily trying to bring in all these veterans to kind of plug and play. They're letting this young core get time, get NHL experience, and figure out what they have, which for a lot of teams, especially Buffalo, you look at a few others, we're kind of bringing in these plug-and-play replacements and stopping these young prospects from getting NHL time to figure out if they're worth investing in. So that is my one positive for Chicago, is that they fully embrace the youth here and are kind of going all in of being you have your opportunity. We're not going to stop you, but you have to show us kind of what you have if you want to be around for the long haul.
Yeah. You're gonna get your time and you're gonna earn it. I wish more teams would do this, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people look at this team and just say, yeah, they're trying to enter the McKenna sweepstakes, but I don't understand why more teams don't just let the youth play out and see what you have. I mean, putting a young player on the seventh, or as your 6th or 7th defenseman, or sending him up and down for the AHL, it just doesn't make sense to me, and it never has. Or that winger that's playing on the 3rd and 4th line, and you're like, why is this guy not doing anything? Because he's getting 10 minutes a game playing 4th line minutes. Put the players in the roles that they've been playing their lives throughout juniors or college or wherever they played, and let them see if we have something here. Otherwise, you can move them for something or whatever. But like I said, I like this blue line for what it could be, at least in a few years. You're choosing to build around Knight. We'll see if he ends up kind of turning his career around from where he was in Florida. That's still, goalies, obviously, but at least you have something there, right? You have a young blue line that you're figuring out. You have a relatively young goaltender. And you have a guy like Bedard and Nazar down the middle, kind of, and even Dickinson to an extent, I guess. So, there are pieces here. It still feels like it's kind of far off.
Yeah, no, I would certainly agree. I don't think you're expecting much from this roster, maybe 2, 3 seasons out, right? I think that's kind of when you look to this team to turn a corner. But getting into their team futures, they had 61 points last year. DraftKings has them at 67.5. FanDuel has them at 68.5. To make the playoffs, 16-1. To miss the playoffs, minus 4,000. Division winner, 300-1. Conference winner, 250-1. Stanley Cup, 500-1. Division, conference, Stanley Cup to make the playoffs, all out of the door. We won't even go into those. Regular season points, 67. We'll start on the low end. I don't know if this team is ready to make the jump, given how competitive this division is going to be. I don't think the additions of Burakovsky, Lafferty are enough to have this team jump 6 points. When you look at the other teams of Colorado, Dallas, Minnesota, Nashville should be better. St. Louis is good. Utah should be better, and Winnipeg's there. They are still clearly the 8th seed in this division.
Yeah. I mean, I think maybe they can go up to 7th or something, but that would have to be, yeah, it would. I'm not saying in a realistic situation. I think it's more of a just maybe they could somehow get there. I don't think it's going to happen. Like, I don't want the 67.5 over. I don't want that at all.
No.
I mean, is this a team again, kind of like where they move Burakovsky at the deadline, or Teravainen at the deadline, or Bertuzzi at the deadline, or even I forget. Do you know how much the Donato contract was for? I didn't know. I forget what the extension.
No,
was.
I don't know off the top of my head.
Like, does his contract even is that tradable? You know, could this team just be a team that fully just embraces the tank? You know, as the season wears on. All those players are players that I could see like playoff teams wanting to add into that like third or fourth line role on their team to kind of boost their depth. So that would be my worry if I was even considering an over with them. I would not. But yeah, I honestly I think this would be a team that you might be able to actually bet like high totals on and stuff like that. I think that's your only thing you're going to get from this team.
Yeah, I don't really see much at all. I'm trying to find a few props here, but awards, I think that's out the window as well, but we'll get into some player props. Bedard is at 29.5 goals. He had 23 last year, 22 the year prior. Another one I'm just not fully invested in. I don't necessarily have a strong opinion, let's say, either over or under, but it's not a prop that I'm dying to bet.
No, I agree. And now that I'm like considering the other teams in this division, I fully take back them moving to 7th. Unless the Predators just continue that free fall from last year.
The only one. Yes, the Preds is the only one that we would ever try to consider for them to beat here. But
I just can't see
this
any
division's loaded.
Yeah. This is. I mean, that on top of them just not being a very competitive roster overall, like you have to play in this division, which looks pretty sturdy.
Is this? I mean, them to make the playoffs at minus 4,000, is that like one of those tweets where you're like, if you saw $100 in the ground laying there, would you pick it up? And it's like, do you really want to put $4,000 on the Blackhawks to miss the playoffs to win 100? I understand the logic because there is no chance they do make the playoffs. I will stand on that right now. There is no chance this team makes the playoffs. But is this one of those where you put $20,000 on them to win $500? Like, I'm sure there's people out there that may consider doing it. But is the juice worth the squeeze?
No, like you're talking about season long, tying up your money for that long, just for
season long, putting $20,000. It's like a 401k at that point.
Yeah,
you're taking out of your 401k, and you're like, yeah.
But I mean, you're right. Like the odds of them
could be.
Could you imagine somebody does that and like they do make the playoffs? That would just be ridiculous, wouldn't it?
Yeah, my retirement fund is gone. Just the Chicago Blackhawks ruined my retirement fund. Um, yeah, I mean, they just don't make the playoffs though. But in terms of other player props for this team, Bedard points is at 72.5. He had 67 last year, 61 the year prior. Again, all right, FanDuel has him at 68.5. Let's start there. I like the over. I'll be honest here. At 68.5, I do like the over for Bedard there. Burakovsky should be a positive addition to this line. He's already got built-in chemistry with Donato. If he gets 2 more points than last season, he hits it. I think he does. He's shown improvement from year 1, going from 61 to 67. He should be able to break that 70-plus point barrier this season.
My only question on Burakovsky, I like the number. I think 60. I think this team will score more than they did. I mean, they ranked 26 in goals for last year. I think I could see a little bit more offensive upside. But Burakovsky, you can't count on Burakovsky to be there. The guy, like, I mean, let me look up his games played total in the last few years, but I feel like he has not played. I mean, this is a guy that used to be all right, but at this point, does he even have any speed left with all these injuries he's had? Let's see here.
Yeah.
Let's see these.
I'm looking at a few right now because I have one right now that jumps off the chart, but I want to just confirm that this is correct.
He played 79 games last year? Jeez, okay. He was just non-existent. 37 points.
I have a bet of the year.
Go ahead.
On DraftKings right now, Ryan Donato to get 50 points is plus 120. Looking at his stats from last year, he had 62.
Yeah.
Plus 120 for him to get 50 this year. That's a 11-point drop off, and he still hits it.
Yeah. I if we're saying Bedard's going to get 69 or his number's 68, 69, then why can't Donato get that?
Bedard's minus 170 on DraftKings to hit 70 points. He's minus 115 to get 70 points on FanDuel. Let me just correct. Bedard minus 130. So minus 130 to get 70 plus points on FanDuel. And yeah, so his number, his season long prop has actually jumped up from 68.5 to 70. So he's minus 110 for over 70.5. I think he hits that too. But
people are buying the Chicago offense.
That's one of those stocks that you really,
really want that
more than us. Yeah.
I honestly, I like the Donato one. I mean, I do think he takes
points.
I do think he takes a step back. I do think that, but still, I mean, we're talking that would be a massive step back. And I don't know. Do you buy into the contract year thing and like he just got his contract, so now he's just gonna suck type of scenario? Like that would be the only way you would see it, but still 50 points. I mean,
50 points. He's just got to get 50. He had 62 last year. He still has Bedard on his line, who's still young enough and improving. He should be able to hit 50. And
he's going to get all the ice time.
All the ice time. And in all things considered too, right? It's not like we're laying 115 like we were on other props, right? Plus 120, put a unit on it. I really think this is an undervalued prop. While he may regress, I don't know if he regresses 11 points.
Yeah, I think it's worth it.
Yeah.
And the price is right.
Exactly. Any other props for you on this team? The other one that I was looking at, which it's really, really scary to do, is the Spencer Knight win total.
I know. I was just looking at him like,
I know.
I mean, he's going to get run. He's going to get a ton of starts. But
completely agree. He had 38 games played last year, 17 wins. His win total for this year is at 19.5. He had 12 wins in 23 games played with Florida. He had 5 wins in 15 games played with Chicago. My only concern is we don't think this team's necessarily going to improve all that much. And for him to win 20 games next year when they won 25 in total last season,
no.
you almost lean the under, right?
May you take the under there. And then,
I think that's the only play.
You never know. Like, they could be stupid with the tandem and like give Soderblom more starts than you would think, or who knows?
Who knows? All right. Any other props before we wrap up?
No, like I said, I think in reality this will be a team that might be actually fun to bet on this season if their offense is what I think it could be, and I think they will give up goals too. So, I mean. The Blue Jackets were a team like this a couple of years ago where it was like every first period overhit. Like, it was just, it didn't matter that they stunk, overall.
Yeah.
It was just like, those were the games that were fun, because you're getting 6 or 7 goals every time you're playing. So you can bet overs, you can bet point props, usually have value, outside Bedard, like we were saying. So I think just keep an eye on this team early in the season, see how they look. If the offense is going and they're letting in goals, then I think it'll be fun to bet on them and make some money.
Going back to our strategy last year, like, all I'm going to say is when you scroll through an NHL slate, just keep an eye out on this team because their roster is ever changing, especially their lineup, right? And there is going to be value to be had there because not everyone is necessarily going to look at Chicago Blackhawks player props. So whenever you're doing your research, just check out daily face-off in this lineup because there is value to be had on this team. So that's kind of my only recommendation on them of, while you don't necessarily have to pull up the first matchup that you see with Chicago in it and be like, this is where I got to deploy 2 units tonight. Before you place all your bets, just check out the lineup because there usually is some value on this team. All right. Anything else before we wrap up? I think the big prop out of this is Donato at 50+ points, plus 120 on DraftKings.
Yeah, I agree on that. And I can't believe we talked about Chicago for 20 minutes. So
22 minutes. Look at us. Look at us. All right. Want to thank everyone for listening to today's episode of Expected Bets 4. You can follow us on social media at Expected Bets 4 on Twitter and on Instagram. Also, if you haven't done so already, please subscribe and like this video. It really helps us out a lot. Once more, we appreciate you guys for tuning in to today's episode, and we will talk to you later. See ya. What's going on, everyone? The NHL season is almost here, and we have something special for all the fans and bettors out there.
Yeah, right now, if you click the link in our description, you can get the full Tails package for $40 off. That is by using code SEASON25, and you can get our package that's normally $120 just for $80.
Yeah. In addition to that, you'll also get access to our one-stop shop betting guide loaded with team, player, individual team breakdowns, all the futures you could possibly want. So be sure to click that link in the description to sign up now.
Yeah, it's like ChatGPT put in an Excel sheet for you so you can rip through all of those future props. Again, make sure you're liking and subscribing all the Expected Bets 4 video content as well to help us grow. And we can't wait to be smacking in some parlays and straights with you all season long.